All right, so now it's time that we talk about the
Organic
chemical.
chemistry.
Okay. The chemical that makes everything possible when it comes to rebreathers, the chemical that scrubs the CO2 that you're breathing out.
Oh, the Ca times OH squared?
Okay. So let's
you
talk
were
about
shocked that I knew that right now.
let's talk about carbon dioxide absorption,
Okay.
also known as Sorb.
Okay.
And, again, a lot of this stuff is technical. If you enjoy this information, it's technical. If you're like me that just knows that this chemical somehow someone invented. I want to know who the guy who invented this.
I want to know
Who
how
figured
much
this
you
out?
know about the binding agent silica. That's what I want to know.
All right. So the
Or
Sorb,
that you even knew that was in
the
this.
Sorb that we use typically uses 94% calcium hydroxide, which is completely different than the 4% of sodium hydroxide, two completely different hydroxides.
And your favorite, the silica.
And less than 1% silica, which I don't, what's the other? So if my math is not incorrect here, is 98 point
That means they don't
something.
even know.
So the other is
That
just
means the
magical.
scientists don't even know.
It's magical. But anyway, silica is the binding agent to, I guess,
think the
keep
other
it together.
the other component is dark matter because I am a quantum
Dark
physics.
Okay.
We're gonna get serious now. Listen, this removes the carbon dioxide. This is how Woody learns. You can shoot me down later if you want to. Is it working or is it not working? There are some types that actually change color. Now, the first thing you need to know is how long is my particular unit's Sorb going to remove carbon dioxide at a normal dive. Ours is rated for 2.5 hours. There is a stack timer setting on your Shearwater in the advanced configuration settings. I use it. I like setting it, and I put it to 2.5 hours. And if it tells me I've reached 2.5 hours, I dump the Sorb, no matter what, and I'm not cheap about it. Some change colors, so when you dump it out, it like turns purple. Some are non-indicating, where you dump it out and it looks like it's the same color. Why is that important? Because I don't want you to dump it out and start thinking, look, I didn't use any of mine because it didn't change color. No, not all of them do change color. So just be mindful of the limit that your Sorb has.
Yeah.
Or you could take Gus's advanced chemistry class right now.
Remember that this is a chemical, right, at the end of the day. And the chemical reacts with the CO2 that you're breathing and also with the vapor that forms from your warm breath, right? And it produces heat. It gets actually pretty hot. And it's always fun when you dump Sorb at the end of your dive when you're in like a cold environment and that thing is like vaping. It's like smoking.
Steam a little bit.
Steaming out, and you know that the stuff is working.
But it is nice because you get a warm, moist air breath while you're diving your rebreather.
Yep.
This is important.
Yeah, temperature actually affects how long your Sorb can go.
That's
and when we were developing the Dive Talk Go, we went through testing, and some of the testing that we did was finding out what are the limitations of the Sorb. And the way the testing works is you place the Go in a machine at depth, 100 plus feet.
Cold, right?
Yep, cold water, 55-degree water. And then you make it breathe like somebody who's working hard. So heavy saccharate. You're breathing. And we know that it can go beyond 2.5 hours. Let's just not say exactly how long it went for. But we feel that even the heaviest breathing, working hard in cold water, so affected by temperature, will go 2.5 hours. How long would it go if you're in warm waters, chilling, enjoying life? Who knows?
But we're going to stop at 2.5
don't go over
hours.
2.5 hours.
So it's
right?
an inverse relationship, right? The warmer the water, the more efficient the reaction, the longer the Sorb will last.
Correct.
And we tested this at a pretty cold temperature, at a very rapid breathing rate, and we feel very confident to say this is safe at 2.5 hours.
Correct.
And it, by the way, was tested by a machine, not some human that decides I'm starting to pass out now, right? It detected when the CO2 started to break through.
Absolutely. Third-party testing.
And we need to use, by the way, we did test it with that 812 Sorb.
Right.
And that's the kind we recommend.
Sorb comes in 2 different sizes. The size that we use is the very common 812. That's what we tested it with, so that's why we're recommending that. We didn't do 2 rounds of testings with different sizes and whatnot. We just stuck with a 812, which we have like pallets of,
Yes.
and that's what we used, and it worked great. So definitely recommend that you stick with the A12.
Definitely. It's
That's what
all-
we use to dive, and that's what we tested with.
And it's all over the manual. Dive it with A12.
Absolutely. So once again, Sorb is affected. The length of the Sorb is affected by chemical composition, by the canister design, which we're going to talk about in a second. There's essentially two main canister designs when it comes to rebreathers. The canister volume, how much Sorb you have, right? That's how long it can last. The temperature of the water, the exertion level, like how fast you're breathing, right? And the more you breathe, the more CO2 you're dropping into the Sorb for it to absorb, and the moisture content, right? Wet Sorb still works from what I know. So wet Sorb will still absorb CO2, but you also get a caustic cocktail in the process.
Yeah,
So-
the wetter it is, the less efficient it is to the point where it can become caustic, which we talked about before.
So there are two main designs of canisters when it comes to scrubbing CO2 out of it. One of them is called the actual flow system, in which the scrubber,
It's axial.
is designed
is
to allow gas to flow through a block of Sorb or a block of absorbent in a linear direction.
That
It goes
is what
one
ours
way
is.
and it comes out on the other way.
And that's exactly how ours is designed. It's kind of flowing in a linear direction through the Sorb.
Absolutely. In a radial flow, which is the other
Not ours.
system, the gas enters in the center and it flows out outwards
Radial.
from the absorbent, right? It just goes in all directions. So depends on how the absorbent is being used and employed and the way that the canister is designed, the duration can go up or down.
That's right.
That's important to know.
Well, we talked a lot about this, so I think
Yeah.
it's pretty simple to say you cannot have that Sorb be wet. It can become lethal. It's lithium hydroxide, as in you're now breathing a lithium battery chemical into your mouth.
Yeah.
And that's alkaline and it's going to burn you. So don't get it
So
wet.
I don't know if this is accurate. I'm just gonna throw it out there. But if you take 3 or 4 batteries, put it in a blender, and drink that, that's
I
probably.
don't think it's good.
I doubt it.
Like, I'm not going to do that.
No.
And we don't want you doing that with our rebreather.
Fun fact: if you take Sorb and put it in your mouth, just dry Sorb and put it in your mouth, no problem.
Okay, well, I'm not, I highly recommend you don't test that.
Let's try it after this.
Okay.